me go back a little bit and ask you about your meditation practice and your Buddhist practice as well, because as far as I talked with you before, you dedicated some serious time to these practices.
Yeah, I can talk about that. That's an interesting topic. I meditated for about 7 years, and I stopped. I haven't meditated. I don't know, in a couple of years, something like that. And I can, I don't know, share my experiences and my story with that. So I started meditating when I was about 24, maybe. And at that time, I had chronic back pain, and that was at least one of my motivations to meditate, because I had some idea that it could be useful or helpful. I'm not sure if I read that somewhere or if I arrived at that conclusion by myself. Something like, well, you see, for example, the monks. I don't know if those were Thai monks that self-immolated, like they burned themselves alive. And
Yeah, I know this case.
yeah, there are these very striking photos of this happening. And so there's clearly something about meditating and the ability to tolerate pain, right? Because they obviously felt the horrible pain and were able to keep going through that. And I guess that seemed like a superpower that would be useful to have. And at the same time, I was listening to Sam Harris, who I got in touch with through I guess atheism. Being an atheist and looking at atheist content. I found Sam Harris, and he eventually released a meditation app and started talking more about his meditation practice. And that was kind of my path into meditation. And yeah, I actually so quite early on, I think even before I started having a regular meditation practice, I had a very strong experience where I was just studying these concepts and trying to understand what Sam Harris was talking about in terms of what he called spirituality without religion. And he pointed to a few books. One of those was by Nisargadatta Maharaj, who was not a Buddhist. He was of the Advaita Hindu tradition. He was an Indian guy. And yeah, I read that book, and it's sorry. I guess it had some similarities with the book you're talking about, even though I haven't read it. I just heard you talk about it, but there are like this descriptions of reality, right? Trying to make sense out of things. And one of the truths, let's say, that the book claimed was that the universe was loving in some sense. I'm sure it was worded differently, but that's how I remember it. And I did not believe that. Like the universe seemed to me like a pretty neutral place with good and bad things. So it did not make sense. And I talked to my mom one day about that, and I talked to her about this idea, and I said, "Hey, I read this in this this Indian guy wrote this book and says that the universe is loving, and this makes no sense to me." And she said, "No, but I believe that. I think it's right." And I was like, "What? Really? How? I don't see it." And that night, I went to sleep, and I had the most amazing dream, which I think William James would call a mystical experience. It's hard to describe because one of the aspects of the mystical experience is that it's indescribable. But I kind of saw what he was talking about, right? The way that I would try to describe it is that there was nothing, and at the same time that there was nothing, there was I, but I was everything, and there was this infinite love around everything, and trying to put it into thought, it would be something like everything is love, and I am everything, and I am love, and it's very hard to put it into words, but I had this very, very strong experience, and I guess scientifically people can just say, "Oh well, you had a dream," and I'm sure they would be right in saying that, but it was still a very powerful and strong experience. I would say probably the most powerful experience of my life. I think it's also something that people have when they do psychedelics, right? Some people report this kind of experience on psychedelics as well. And well, after that, I still woke up next morning, and I was me, and everything was still normal, right? But I had this memory of this experience. And it was when I was reading this book, and it was when I was listening to Sam Harris talk about meditation and all of these insights. So I thought, I guess I better follow that path. There's something here. There's something for me to learn. So I just kept meditating from there. And I did a couple of meditation retreats with Tibetan monks or Tibetan Rinpoches.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just a weekend retreat, but no, I guess it was those guys are pretty high up in the hierarchy, I guess. Of the spiritual hierarchy of Tibetan Buddhism, and I got exactly what I was trying to get, in the sense that Sam Harris talked about this pointing out technique in Tibetan Buddhism, where you would have the guru point out to you the true nature of your mind, right? And this is what I sought, and this is what I got really from this two meditation masters, or whatever you want to call it. I I got the pointing out technique from both. And this is a very sacred technique that you're not supposed to share, but I'm not a Tibetan Buddhist, so I don't mind sharing it. It was, I mean, it's a whole experience, right? But it was literally what was the name of the Rinpoches? It was Dzogchen Ponlop Rinpoche. So that was the first retreat that I did, and he read this sacred Tibetan text, and he would say, like, while you are meditating, you shout "pa." So you would like break our meditation with a loud noise, like "pa." And we did that. Like, we would meditate in inside the Buddhist temple, like a local Buddhist temple here in Brazil. And I was fortunate enough that Rinpoches came to Brazil. I guess it's a big population. They do come here, and I didn't get anything, honestly, out of the pointing out technique, and maybe I was doing something wrong, but you're supposed to recognize what they call rigpa, which is the nature of mind. And I guess what I got out of that first experience was a good joke, because after the retreat, people would line up to kind of get blessed and say goodbye to the Rinpoche, and I got in line, and people would make some kind of gesture and bow to them, and when I got to him and I said "Bah!" And I thought that was very funny, and he laughed too. That was a good joke, but I did not recognize the nature of mind truly in any meaningful sense. And the second experience, I guess, was similar, but without the joke. It was a different approach. It wasn't the same as Dzogchen Ponlop Rinpoche. This was ngo-trö Rinpoche, who's the son of Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche. And Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche was the teacher of Sam Harris. So I was as close as you could get to the source of what Sam Harris was supposedly talking about, right? I can say that I was taught by the son of Sam Harris's teacher, and this son, ngo-trö Rinpoche, learned directly from Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche. And it was like, it sounds cool, but I don't think like, maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe I have I got some mystical, unexplainable understanding that I can't even see from these guys, but honestly, I don't think so. But what I can tell is that I gave it my best effort to try to understand what was going on, and the truth claims that that I got at the beginning of the path, where I had this powerful experience, and I thought, well, maybe there's some way for me to integrate this powerful experience that I had in a dream, right? Maybe through meditation or through some understanding, I can get something, I can be something. And I had eventually, I just had to give up, because I don't see how, right? I learned a lot along the way, for sure, but yeah, eventually I kind of let go of the path, and I just decided to live my life normally and do the things I want, make games, play games, or just live normally, enjoy life. and kind of know that I had that experience, but I honestly don't know if there's something to do with that, or I just kind of let go of that, and I'm just living life. So that was a long story, but that's the whole story.
It's really interesting. Yeah, it's quite a journey you had. So you meditated for several years, and then you just didn't see any practical benefits, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, so it's quite understandable. On the my path, I continue meditating because I see practical benefits all the way. If I didn't see progress for a year or two, I think I also would quit.
Yeah, I mean, I also just want to say that I'm not against meditation or against Buddhism or anything like that, right? I was fully into meditation for 7 years, and I don't think I was fully into Buddhist philosophy in the same sense that you were, but I was looking at it quite seriously. Maybe I don't have the same technical understanding, I guess, but yeah, I think that if whatever people want to do, if they want to meditate, if they want to learn more about Buddhist philosophy or whatever kind of philosophy, as far as I'm concerned, they are free to do that, and I really don't have I don't have a say on what people do and what people don't do, but that was my experience to the extent that I can relate it as honestly as I can at this moment. Now, maybe at some point I will look at things differently, but that's how I see it now.
Yeah, everyone has their own path.
Yeah, that was a that was a long story. Let me look if there were some things that I wanted to also approach with you. Oh, I have one question, but it would change the subject quite a lot. Would that be okay, or is there still something you want to talk about in this subject?
Yeah, sure. Let's go on.
Okay. So you mentioned that in this year that you were working on for Divine Abidings, you were working very intensely on it, right? That I can't see myself doing that for a whole year. That in the way that it seemed that you described it. I'm just wondering, how do you do that? How can you focus for an entire year? Like, I can do that maybe for a week, 2 weeks, and then I need to like relax a little bit and take my mind off of the project. How do you